People always ask me how I know if the story what I read is true. Well, today we don't have to guess because we have both sides of the story. So please say hi to today's guest. Mother twists story to get fake sympathy points from Reddit. Daughter makes her own post to set the record straight. So the title of the mother's original post is, I told my sons I wish I never gave birth to them. I don't regret it. I don't feel bad. I wish this type of people would never have kids. Let me get one thing clear. Not every person meant to be a parent. If you have this type of feelings towards children, never have them. Otherwise, they're just gonna go through the worst type of imaginable. I don't care how many times you come to my door to apologize. I let them and their father bully me for years. Call me all kind of names. How they reject every present I ever bought them cause it wasn't brand new or super expensive. Despite me having to go hungry sometimes to even afford what I could get them. Most of the time, kids want your time and attention, not the expensive presents. Especially if you are living in these circumstances, you don't have to go hungry to make your kids happy. I come to their father's house one day to say happy birthday, they ignore me. I try to give them a hug, I got pushed away. You see, I have a hard time believing that your kids would behave like this for no reason. I also grew up in a very poor family, but I love my mom to death. She always went above and beyond for me in her whole life. I couldn't imagine a better mother than her, even though I never got those expensive presents. Their father told me to stop annoying them on their 16th birthday for God's sake. I got them both Nintendo Switches for their birthday and I sent my carefully wrapped present on the table and they opened it last. When they saw it, they said, "Really? That's it?" I looked confused and asked, "What's wrong? Was it the color this time? Or maybe they expected games too?" "No one plays Nintendo, you dinosaur," they said. Dinosaur? There is no way in hell that a Gen Z would say dinosaur. If Opie wanted to lie in her post, at least she should have looked up what words to use. "You guys never text me, I didn't know what you wanted and I know you broke the one you shared so I got you both your own," I told them. Which would be nice if it would be true. They set the presents I had to starve myself for on the table and everyone went inside for the cake. We already know she's lying in this post, but I don't know what was her plan, how this would make her relationship with her kids better. I finally realized they don't care, they really don't care. Why it take me years to realize I don't know, but I do know. I took the switches and headed for the door. Their dad stopped me and in front of everyone said, "Hey, where are you going? You're leaving your kids on their birthday?" "Let her go, it won't make a difference," one of my boys said. Everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. I started to tear up and my son's aunt told me to stop being a big baby and hold the phone for pictures. I got angry and I yelled in front of everyone, "I hate you. I hate you all. I'm tired of this family abusing me, using my trauma against me, making me feel small because I'm not rich and spoiled." There is no way your kids would say something like this just because you're not rich. That doesn't come out of nowhere. It really feels like there's a lot being left out here. Because reactions like that usually come from much longer, deeper history. I've done nothing but love this family. But because I'm built like a child, I can sit with the adults. If you already separated from your kid's father, you don't have to hang out with him or the rest of the family. All your focus is needed on is your kids. No one came to my birthday, why should I be here? Because you are the parent. No one cares about me, but you won't bat an eye if I died, would you? Then I looked at my boys dead in the eyes and said, "I hate you both too. I wish I never had you. Opie is out here burning all the bridges." I hope you knew what's coming when you were typing these words out. Because this definitely never happened. If it would have, it would be even worse. But you really deserve that your kids never talk to you ever again. Ran out to my car and left. I blocked them all. The next day, I heard a knock on my door and saw my kid's father. He begged me to come his house and talk to our kids. He said they are so sorry. This makes zero sense. If they treated you so badly, they wouldn't care you stepped out from their life. There is no way in hell that they would have shown up next day and begged you to come back. This is maybe a wet dream of yours, but definitely not reality. Yet, I never heard this come out their mouths, so I'm not interested. That was 3 days ago, and ever since he came to my door and asked me to forgive them. But I won't. Don't think I can. Sorry for any errors, I'm kinda shaken up. Their father left an hour ago, so it's still on my mind. This might be the most unrealistic story I have ever read. And surprise, surprise, there is a comment from the aunt she mentioned in the post. Do not believe her BS. I am the sister of the father in the post. And all of this a lie, and this is not how this went down. Stop lying on my family. You know, this is not true, hence why you deleted the account. I am trying to upload my side, but TOFC is not letting me, but please, believe me, she is lying. It was pretty obvious that she was lying. It made no sense that her family rejected her, and when she left, they crawled back and begged her to return. Those things only happen in movies, and maybe in the show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Definitely not in real life. A few weeks later, the daughter she never even mentioned in the post makes her own post. I hate my mom and how she convinced thousands of people that she is the victim. This is going to be long, but please bear with me. I'm so ready to see the other side of the story. I, 23 female, am no longer in contact with my mom Jane because of years of manipulation, fear-mongering, and hatred. So the mom wasn't the victim? I'm so surprised. I was conceived through a one-night stand. Jane couldn't get in contact with the guy and so carried and raised me as a single mother until she met someone. And God, did she let me know about it. She made sure to tell me how unwanted, unlovable, and disgusting I was. She admitted to neglecting me as an infant and toddler and how she would essentially have screaming matches with me. This is horrifying to read, and none of them is normal or excusable. Saying those things to a child and admitting to neglect is full stop. When I was 5, she met William and they fell in love. They got married within a year and William adopted me after his twin sons, John and Oscar, 16 male, were born. I was 7. Their relationship moved very fast and I believe it caused a lot of turmoil. I truly believe the pregnancy was to trap William. But that's speculation and opening a whole can of worms. During the pregnancy, Jane would have tantrums about having twins. How she only wanted one and how she'd only loved the first one that came out. This was a new side to her that William hadn't seen before and he shut it down quickly. These words are very disturbing and serious. I don't know how I would deal with it if my partner would say stuff like this to me. Well, she kept her promise and only gave attention to Oscar. John was completely neglected by her other than to feed. She had intense postpartum depression and that's not her fault. But what it is how she handled it. She refused to get help and claimed postpartum depression / postpartum psychosis is for insane and bad mothers. Mental illness isn't someone's fault, but how they handle it is their responsibility, especially when kids are involved. At some point, when the boys were a year or so old, she was admitted into hospital for having intense thoughts about hurting herself or others. She was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and postpartum psychosis. She spent 5 months in hospital / a mental health facility. For those 5 months she was gone, I have never felt so much love for another person in my life. Bearing in mind, I was just 8. All I had known was yelling and emotional abuse. When a child feels safer and more loved during a parent's absence, that's not a coincidence. That's a reflection on a long-term emotional abuse. When she got out, both sides of the family had a big sit down and told her their expectations. It was all doable. Go to therapy, take her meds, and they made her a list of emergency contacts who she could call if she was feeling it all a bit too much. She had a support system in place, but she didn't use it. We moved out when William got home and found me at age 11 trying to cook dinner for my brothers. Except Jane had turned off the gas and electric off as punishment. At this point, this is not just neglect, it's scary behavior. It's dangerous, and it really highlights how little responsibility she really took. Jane had locked herself in the bathroom and wouldn't come out because John was upset. Remember, she hates John. How can you hate your own child? I don't have any kids, but I treat my cat better than she treats her children. She had also thrown a ton of stuff around in a fit of rage because I said she probably shouldn't take Oscar to the shop if she can't walk straight. That's really sad that you have to remind her when you were only 11. William packed our stuff up and we left for his mother. Jane was not happy about that. I'm happy she took you with him though. When he found out she had thrown shit around and at me, he was furious. He filed for divorce the following Monday. The court gave him full custody with mandated visitation from Jane. I remember crying myself to sleep when I found that out. We moved out of Grandma's house and into a nice flat where we seemed to get our life together. Other than the visitation, we were good until William got a new job and we had to move across the city. This set Jane up, who up until this point had been on mostly good behavior. We moved closer to William's sister and her family. They all knew about Jane. Aunt was on the contact list, but we all tried to move forward. Things were good for a couple of years, but then I turned 16. It sounds like things were finally looking up, but then it has to turn messy again. The day after my 16th, I got a text from Jane telling me that she's moving out and that I need to pack up my stuff from my old room. I went, stupidly, and began putting things into piles. Jane just stood in the doorway and eventually began bawling her eyes out. She began apologizing for everything she had done and how she feels like a failure. This is when she told me about the emotional and verbal she inflicted on me as an infant/toddler and how she blames herself for my numerous mental health issues. This was all leading up to her asking if I could ever forgive her. I said no. I said that she may feel guilty, but she's stuck in this cycle where she's the boys as well and hating one of them since he was born for no reason. She lost her mind and kicked me out. It got a little physical between us and she ended up screaming that I'm no longer her daughter and how she's disowning me. I love how she's apologizing, and when she doesn't get what she wanted, she's blowing the up. This woman definitely doesn't deserve any children. Your life just become better when she disowned you. When I got home, I told William everything. He was furious too and went to her place and arrived back home hours later with our stuff. I don't know what went down and I don't want to. We filed a police report, I had scrapes and bruises and her mandated visits were lifted. A weight had been lifted off my shoulders. It was like this black cloud of negativity had finally eased up. I felt so much happier. I began to focus on school and my family without dreading having to see her. We couldn't get a restraining order, but she kept her distance. She would send birthday and Christmas cards, but we never reciprocated. The boys know a bit about what went down, but William was very frugal with what he told them. I think that's for the best. There is no reason to remind them the trauma they went through. He said he didn't want to inflict unnecessary emotional damage onto them. He's a great father. It is amazing he was there for you the whole time as well. Then on their 16th, she shows up. What's with the 16th birthday? Is she Maleficent or what? Which was weird because she never shows up to anything. I kept my distance and stayed in the kitchen, but I could still see and hear everything. I was shaking in fear and had to run to the bathroom at one point. She had brought them both Nintendo Switches. At least there's one thing she wasn't lying about. They both opened her presents last and both quietly thanked her. There was no insults being thrown around. No one said, let her go, it won't make a difference. It definitely happened. In her head, the atmosphere was stifling. In fact, it was Jane who yelled and insulted first. She called the twins ungrateful brats, and the second she stood up to yell, William and Auntie began to push her outside. As she was being pushed, she points at the twins and yelled, you are both ungrateful, unlovable little and my biggest regret is not you when I had the chance. This is horrifying. There is no coming back from words like this. The party was naturally ruined at this point, and the boys are both totally emotionally destroyed. William left at one point to go and talk to her because she had blocked William, the only one who has her number, but I don't know the specifics. I guess William really showed up at her house after this, but I doubt he went there to beg her to come back. It's been a few weeks since the incident and the boys are both destroyed. Oscar has become a recluse and John isn't eating. I'm furious. I'm sorry for making this so long. I'm just so mad, traumatized, and upset by the whole thing. Honestly, not everyone should have children. And clearly, someone like her should have never been in this position. I completely sympathize with William and the kids. I hope they are healing and finding some peace after everything they went through. Opie added some edits, so let's check out how it ended. Edit. Hi everyone, I'm just popping in to clarify some things that I've been receiving in my DMs and questions in the Crows post because yes, I do read them. I do have a Reddit account, but I only use it to post Sims 4 content, kinda lame, I know. And I only am subscribed/following subs of games I play. My second year of uni has also been kicking my ass, and so I haven't been online as much. I know her post got a lot of traction, but I didn't see it. Plus, it got deleted, so it's not going to pop up on suggested sub posts Reddit is pushing. I did hear about my mother's post from the Two Hot Takes podcast, hence the weird timing. I know it seems a little coincidental, but I promise this is all real. I have zero ill will towards anyone who sympathized with my mother as they were going off her original post. I've gotten many people DMing me about it, and I just wanted to say that I totally understand why anyone reading the original post would think, what a family. It did suck to read everyone siding with her, but there is literally no reason to be mad as that's all the info they had. Obligatory, thanks for the support comment. I will be logging off now for my own sake. Honestly, I really respect how calmly she handled everything here. It takes a lot to step in, clarify the truth, and stay grounded after all the drama. I hope she's able to focus on herself and her life now. She deserves that peace. Seeing both sides of the story was incredible. And we are making this a regular thing. Expect more stories like this in 2026 when we get the full picture. I hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, please subscribe and see you in the next time.